welcome to your reading. So we've got the Ace of Swords, we have the Empress, we have the Three of Swords, we have the King of Cups, the Lovers, the Ten of Cups, the Five of Cups, and the Five of Swords. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. And Gracie has zoomies downstairs, so you may hear a little bit of background noise, but hopefully since she's downstairs, it won't be too bad. I just heard her though. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Already, I can't help but smile looking at your spread, which is funny because we do have some difficult energies on the table, right? So if you're familiar with tarot, or even if you're not, and you just look at this card, it doesn't look super positive, right? So we have the Three of Swords here. That's a tough energy. We have the Five of Cups. That's a tough energy. We have the Five of Swords. That can be a hard energy. And yet I can't stop smiling. And so I feel like, first of all, your guides really want to acknowledge how you have this beautiful sense of resiliency and optimism. I mean, you just keep going. As challenging or as difficult as things may be, or disappointing at times, you don't let it affect your core belief system. You don't let it get you down for too long. I'm not saying that you don't deal with your emotions. With the King of Cups and the Empress, you 100% cope with your emotions as you need to, but you don't let it get you down for long. You bounce back. You bounce back really quickly. I'm thinking about the song by Big Sean, but yeah, you just bounce back so well. You have this beautiful sense of resiliency to you, and you don't let anything get you down for too long. And I think what is so incredibly beautiful about you, Group 1, is that even though you're tough, even though you have this resiliency, this tenacity, you just don't give up, period. You just don't. You're very persistent. You have this beautiful, unshakable faith to you, and you really do believe in yourself and believe in a brighter future. But even with that toughness and that resiliency, that grit that you have, I'm hearing grit, so you really stick to things. Even with all of that, you are still in this beautiful soft energy. You still have this beautiful nurturing quality to you, because you know how when we think about sort of a stereotype for someone who is mentally tough, or someone who is really persistent, a go-getter, we think of someone who is maybe a bit colder, a bit more calculating, someone who is very focused on themselves. You don't have that energy at all. You still have this beautiful compassion for other people. You're still very mothering, very nurturing. Even if you're a man watching this, you still have these maternal instincts, and you do genuinely have this love for people, and you care about people, and you care about helping others who are receptive to it. You don't help out everyone, you don't waste your time, but for those who really and truly are open to it, you're always willing to lend a helping hand. And I think you make people feel safe. You make people feel safe. You have this kind of homey quality to you. And also with this Five of Swords here, you're really protective, fiercely protective, like a mother bear. You're so protective over the people that you love. You're so protective. And I also feel like you defend what is right. You have a sense of honor to you, you have a strong code of ethics. And so you don't ever step outside of that, you have these firm beliefs, and you do what is right, even if it may not necessarily be the most popular choice. You do what is right. So you're not swayed by, the opinions of the majority. And also, I feel like you'll be very well suited to family life if you don't have children of your own yet, or you're not married. or you don't live with a partner, I feel like you'll be well suited to family life. Even if you just have, fur babies, even if you don't ever have children, I just feel like you're really well suited to family life. You could have, with the Empress card and the Lovers here, a really beautiful sense of style and aesthetic. I feel like you're really good at decorating. You're really great at creating moments. So not just decorating or making a space beautiful, but making a space feel comfortable, making a space feel inviting, making a space feel almost like making a space feel like a memory you want to hold on to. You know how you have certain events or something that happens in your life, and even as you're living it, you feel like this is going to be a really great memory. This is a night I want to remember. This is an experience I want to remember. Like when you host a party, or when you host like a dinner party, a gathering at your home, celebrating the holidays or something, and you invite people over, you're playing host or hostess, you are creating like a memory for people. It's something that they want to remember. So it's more than just like the space looks beautiful. It's the feeling that you evoke in styling a space. You know what I mean? Like you create an atmosphere, you create a mood. You're really good at that. And like I said, you have this cozy, warm, safe, inviting kind of energy to you. And you may not show that to everyone immediately, but it's there. Especially for the people who know you really well, that side to you is definitely there. And that's your best side. That's your most authentic self. And again, you may not share that with everyone just to, be protective of your energy. But when you do show it, it's really, really beautiful. And I feel like that's something that if you are wanting to get married, or you are married, or you're interested in having a life partner, that's something that they will really, really appreciate about you, is your style and your aesthetic, and this ability to create beautiful moments that people want to remember. So again, like as you're living it, you're like, I want to hold on to this experience. I want to remember this. This is going to be a really great memory. And with this Ace of Swords, you know how some people say, before you talk to someone who is upset, someone who has come to you and they have vented to you, or they've explained something to you that is wrong in their life, before you respond, you should ask them, like, are you looking for emotional support? Are you looking for advice? Do you just need someone to vent to? What are you like wanting from me in this situation? With you, group 1, you have this beautiful ability to do both. Like you can give advice without it seeming like you are being prescriptive or telling someone what they should do or what they ought to do. And I think that you do this through almost like telling a story. Like there's something about the way that you comfort people where it doesn't feel like you're telling them what to do, but also you're doing more than just providing a listening ear. You're doing more than just providing a safe space or emotional support. They do walk away feeling wiser, feeling like they've had an epiphany, aha moment, feeling like they now have some kind of idea of how to move forward or how to cope. So there's something about you where I almost feel like the universe uses you as a vessel, to share these messages. So you may even surprise yourself sometimes at how well you're able to comfort people when they are upset or going through something. You'll almost be like, where did I even come up with that? Where did that even come from? You may even impress yourself sometimes with this, your ability to almost provide like a therapeutic experience for other people. And I apologize if my voice is a little bit hoarse this morning. Let me get a sip here of my drink. So sorry about that, group 1. I've read that in your second trimester of pregnancy, you're supposed to be like stuffier, and I'm always kind of stuffy, so I think it's just making my throat scratchy too. But anyway, bear with me. I feel like sometimes you may even surprise yourself, and that's because you're almost like, I'm hearing the word conduit. I don't know if that's even appropriate to use, but that's what I'm hearing. I don't know, you're just like, you're the messenger, you're the vessel that they use sometimes. So you may just be surprised at yourself at how naturally good you are at, like I said, it's more than just emotional support or just advice. You're able to do both in a way where it doesn't feel like you're telling them what to do. And so you may just find that people approach you a lot with their problems. And that may get tiring for you. So I think just to be mindful, and I feel like you're already good at doing this with the Empress and the King of Cups, but just be mindful of making sure that you are taking space and time for yourself, because that can get daunting after a while, right? And I also feel like you've had certain life experiences that have been really, really tough, and that has primed you to be an incredible healer, an incredible light worker. Any lesson that you were meant to learn, any spiritual ascension you are meant to go through from that experience, you have done. And you're a really like evolved soul, group 1. With the Empress and the King of Cups, you are a very evolved soul. And there's also something about you, I touched on this a little bit, but I want to expand upon it. With the Empress, the King of Cups, and the Lovers, and the Ten of Cups, you are an incredible romantic partner. Incredible. Even if you've never been in a long-term relationship, you have the potential for this. You are someone that would just make the ideal partner. And I think it's because you are so comforting, you are so nurturing, you are so emotionally intelligent. You understand people. You understand people in such a deep and authentic way. You understand what motivates people. You understand people's reactions. You're sensitive to people's triggers. And this is just something that you possess naturally. You know, like you have a raw skill for, I think, sensing energies, reading people, being a good judge of character. So you may have found in school that you really excelled in psychology, sociology, anything related to people and understanding people, you're just very naturally good at. And I think that's also why the Three of Swords and the Five of Cups are here, and even the Five of Swords, because I feel like if people are going through this, they can come to you and get exactly the help that they need. I feel like you help people resolve these energies. I will also say with the King of Cups, the Empress, and the Lovers being here, you're very physically attractive, whether you realize it or not. I'm being drawn to the eyes a lot, and I didn't use this deck for any other group, but I feel like you have really beautiful eyes. Like I'm hearing soulful eyes, so there's something really nice about your eyes that people really enjoy. You also may have just a very youthful appearance. You look younger than you are. And I think you have a lot of nice, I'm hearing soft curves, so that may be in your face or your body or both. But there's just something really nice I'm hearing about, just like the shape. So your body type that people find attractive. And also, I mean, you can see the cheeks, right? So maybe you have rosy cheeks. But there's just something very sweet and very endearing about the way that you look that people gravitate towards. There's a real sweetness to you. They're doing some yard work outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but what I'm going to do is just take a break from your reading and wait until they stop and then resume it. Happens sometimes when I'm filming, unfortunately. So you may see like a jump cut. So I'm just going to put this on pause and hopefully they stop soon. Anyway, sorry about that, y'all. And speaking of beauty, now we have beauty and euphoria. So definitely, you're very physically attractive, even if you don't recognize it, even if it's hard for you to see ways in which you are physically attractive. You are, you definitely are. And I feel like with this euphoria too, there's an aspect of you where you may find that people fall in love with you really quickly. You may find that people fall for you, and maybe tend to romanticize you a bit. And that can be hard, right? Especially if you feel like they aren't seeing your authentic self, or maybe you have a fear that once they do see your authentic self, maybe they won't like you as much because they have such an idealized, romanticized view of you. But honestly, I think that comes from you presenting so sweetly that people just expect you to always be like that, to always be sweet, or they assume that you're really naive and innocent when you're not. And so people may just have this really false perception of you. So you could be someone, as we kind of talked about before, who's been through some really challenging things, but people just kind of assume that because you look young, because you look sweet, because you have this sort of naive way that you present, even if that's not how you are, that you haven't had any life experiences, that you don't have any wisdom from that. And I feel like sometimes you are quite optimistic, and that's where your sense of resiliency comes from. But I feel like certain people might interpret that as you being naive and you not being realistic, when they don't really understand that sense of optimism and that sense of like faith that things will get better and that they can get better is exactly what has made you so strong. And so I feel like you try to share that energy with others. Like you really try to nurture that in others and help encourage other people. Like you're very supportive. And so, some people aren't really ready to receive that. Some people aren't really ready to see that things can get better. Sometimes people need a minute to grieve or be in this 5 of Cups. And so I think it depends upon, the person, but I feel like that's something you've had to learn, is that you can't necessarily always help everybody, but I feel like you have that beautiful attitude towards you where you do try to help people and you genuinely do care about people, which is really beautiful. So I feel like Spirit is trying to acknowledge, like, yeah, physically you're very attractive, but you also have a very beautiful, caring, gentle soul. At the same time, you're still tough as nails and you're still really strong. So that's really beautiful. And I also feel like with the combination of these 2 cards, there's definitely, for some of you, maybe not for all of you, an artistic side to you. I really feel like you could have a lot of creative expression when it comes to your style, your aesthetic. Maybe you're really great at interior design, or maybe you're actually an artist. Maybe that's something that you're really talented at, but I feel like you have an eye. I keep hearing you have an eye. So even if you're not an artist yourself, you may just have a really good taste that other people try to emulate. Yeah. And I do think like you yourself could romanticize life a bit, and I think other people find that quite charming. It's funny, like you're romanticizing life and other people are romanticizing you. That's cute. With Sanctuary, Passion, and Expression, I definitely feel like this is kind of summarizing a lot of what we've been talking about in a nice and tidy way. Like this idea of sanctuary, you being a safe space for other people, but you also being a safe space for yourself. I feel like you're someone who is always at home, kind of in your own mind. Like you find comfort in your own mind. So you could be someone who daydreams a lot. You could be someone who has a very vivid, active imagination. And I mean, that's a form of a, creative expression as well. Even if other people don't see it, what's going on in your own mind is a form of creative expression. If you have this beautiful, lush imagination where you can escape to when you need to. So I feel like that could be a coping skill for you. But I'm just hearing you have a really beautiful mind. And I feel like if you've never written before, it might be possibly an idea for you to try out. Because they're telling me that if you could get that world onto paper, or if you could get those ideas onto paper, it would be really beautiful to share that with others. And you know, if writing's not your deal, I'm also hearing painting or sketching, just some way in which you could, whatever medium would make sense to you, but a way that you could translate those daydreams or that world in your imagination into the physical reality. Like, I'm hearing that it wants to be expressed and that it wants to be shared. Sorry, I know that's a more specific message, but it did come through. You know, like maybe some of you are artists and you don't even realize it. And I'm using artist as a very broad term because I think it is one. But yeah, so when I say artist, I don't mean just drawing. There's so many ways to create art, right? And with passion here, I just feel like you have this beautiful love of life. And life loves you right back for it. Like, you just have this beautiful love of life. I feel like you're someone who just rolls with the punches, you know? And even if you've had all of these challenging, difficult experiences, you still have this beautiful gratitude and appreciation for when times are good. It's like the contrast helps you to recognize and appreciate the highs so much more. Because when you've been so low and you know what that feels like, when you do have a good moment that other people would probably take for granted, I'm hearing like you revel in it, like you're mesmerized by it. And I feel like you get excited even by little small things. And I think that's part of what it is when people say you seem naive or you seem like super sweet. It's because you do have this like childlike wonderment about the world and about life. You know, like you get excited the way a little kid gets excited. And honestly, group one, I can be like this a lot as well. So, you know, I definitely get this. I definitely get this energy. Even like yesterday, we were super late, like decorating our Christmas tree. And I was getting so excited about like each and every little ornament. And my husband was like, "You're like a little kid." But I mean, it's just something that I don't take for granted because I had a lot of rough Christmases in my life, but especially in my childhood. And so it could be something like that, where part of why you do get so excited is because you have had these bad experiences in your past. And so when you do have a moment that's good, it's like, I want to hold on to it. I want to make this a memory. And I feel like this is connecting to that sanctuary card. I want to keep this memory close. I want to hold on to this memory. It's like you're hugging it. Like, I just want to hold on to it. And so it's like you tuck it away in your mind and you can revisit it anytime you want to. It's almost like you have this beautiful like photo album in your mind and you can just go back. They're just showing me like flipping pages and you can click on an image in your mind and expand it and almost like step into that memory. I feel like you have such a good memory. Maybe not when it comes to everything, but when it comes to that, when it comes to those special moments. And you could romanticize the past a little bit because of this, because each time we revisit a memory, we change it a little bit, right? And it's never exactly the same. Each time we revisit it, we get further away from the reality of what that original memory was, right? And so I feel like that's also contributing to that vivid imagination. Like, each time I touch this memory, it's a little bit different. And it's maybe more of what I wanted it to be in my mind. So that can involve romanticizing the past a little bit too. But I don't think it's in a negative way. You know, I almost feel like it's partially a coping skill. But also I feel like you're the type of person where, let's say you went on a trip with your friends. And your friend was like, I'm going to say your name is Ashley. They're like, "Hey, Ashley, Tell that story of when we went to the mountains. You tell the story. And people want you to tell the story because, I think that with your imagination and that creative expression, I feel like you may have a good, just way with words about you. But it's that ability to romanticize. Like, no one tells a story the way you tell a story. No one tells a memory the way you tell a memory. There's something about you that's super engaging. It's like, I don't want anyone else to tell the story. I want to hear how Ashley tells the story. So there's something, that's that euphoria card too. Like, there's something intoxicating the way that you present it, the way that you tell it. It's like I can't help but stop and listen. And so I feel like people fall in love with the way that you talk, the way that you speak. And you could really have just a beautiful voice as well. And I feel like there's an aspect to you where people just feel so much at home with you. Just so at home with you. And even here, like, I'm being drawn to her cheeks again. Like, I just think you may have rosy cheeks, or maybe that's how you do your blush, but there's just something there where you just seem very romantic, very sweet. Okay. We have abundance. And we have end. This is I think part of your beauty too, is that there's an aspect of you that's a little bit elusive. I don't know if you're someone who has moved around a lot in your life, or if you're someone who changes friend groups. Maybe you move between different social groups. You don't stay at one job for very long. You don't stay in one relationship for very long. Or there's this, some of you, it's just your energy. It's none of that. It's just your energy for some of you, where you're a little bit restless. You're a little bit antsy. There's something about you where it's like you could slip through my hands like water. Like, I can't pin you down. I can't quite hold on to you. Maybe some of you have a little bit of manic panic, pixie dream girl aspect to you. But it's like a wild child. Like, and not that you're like rebellious or anything like that, but it's just, it's hard to define you. It's hard to know exactly how you're going to react. There's something about you where you can be a little bit of a wild card. And I think it's because people have this very clear idea of who you are. You know, they want to put you in that label that we've been referencing over and over again of you being sweet and childlike and sentimental and naive and a dreamer. You know, they want to put you in that little tidy box, but there is that fierceness to you that we picked up on with the Empress, where we said you can be so protective. You can be so protective. Like that mother bear energy. And so I feel like because you're someone who's had a lot of endings in your life, even though you try to hold on to the memories, you don't try to hold on to the physical things. So when a person is ready to leave your life, when a situation is meant to end, you don't cling to it. You hold on to the memory, but you don't cling to the actual physical thing. And so it's almost like you're being swept away with the wind. And so people may try to cling to you, but you know when to walk away. You're not afraid of endings. And I think that is part of what makes people a little bit nervous with you, is that you're not afraid of endings. If you're not afraid of endings, you don't stay in things longer than you should. If something's not serving you, you cut it off. Again, that makes people nervous. So people may think, oh, you're so sweet, this person can easily be taken advantage of. Because you will walk away. You don't cling to things. You don't stand for disrespect. You're not afraid of endings. And that's part of your power. That's part of your power. And with this abundance card, you keep seeking. There's something in your soul that is very much a wanderer. That's an explorer. You have a heart that is seeking. I just keep hearing that over and over again. You have a heart that is seeking, that is yearning for more. And when you have such a vivid imagination, that makes a lot of sense, because why would you settle for a subpar reality when you, in your mind, can envision this lush, abundant future for you? Why would you settle? And so you're gone with the wind. Gone with the wind, fabulous. I had to say it. Anyway, yes. There's something about you that's quite elusive. All right, so we have Pisces, which is a water sign. Then we have the Sun, which is associated with Leo, a fire sign. And then we have the 10th house, which is associated with Capricorn, an earth sign. So yes, you are hard to define. You're very dynamic. You could have a birth chart where, you have a lot of different elements and signs present, but you don't have to. That might just apply for some of you. Now, I will say with this Pisces card, Pisces in and of itself is represented by two fish swimming in the opposite direction. So Pisces can almost be like the Gemini of the water signs, okay? And so I definitely feel like this is confirming that aspect to you of where we said you're hard to define. And you may be a person of contradiction. You're so sweet and so caring, but you're tough as nails. This balance between softness and hardness. And I'll say as well with Pisces people kind of live in their own world. And they're very much connected to their intuition. They tend to have some psychic abilities. And they're very much dreamers. They're lost in their own world. And it's hard, I think, for a Pisces person to always be fully present. And I think that's the case for you, whether or not you're a Pisces or not. It's just that it's hard for you to always be present. So you may find that when you're having conversations with people, or you're like overly stimulated, like you're in a crowd, or you're in a very busy, chaotic environment, like an airport or something like that. Or you're shopping at the mall and it's super busy because it's the holidays. It's like you get overly stimulated by your external environment. I think that you can kind of fade away into your mind, and people will say like, where'd you just go? Where'd you go? And it's so powerful for you. And that's part of what makes you so elusive. That's part of that idea that you hold on to memories, but it's hard for people to hold on to you. You can just go away for a while. And I feel like that's how you're able to restore yourself. That's how you're able to recalibrate when you need to. It's a really good skill for you to have, quite honestly. It's almost like you're able to disassociate when you need to. When things get too heavy, you can go to that safe space in your mind. And it's a really cool thing to be able to do, because I feel like you're able to protect your energy in that way, so you don't get overly depleted. So yeah, go away for a little while, but when I come back, I feel restored and I'm able to give more. I don't get burned out because I'm able to go away for a while. And I don't get overly, influenced by my environment. With the Sun card here, I feel like you really do stay true to who you authentically are. You're very true to yourself. No matter who you're around, you're so true to yourself. And I think that comes from, like being able to pull back your energy like we've been talking about. But I also feel like you showing up as your authentic self, not being afraid to be different, not caring what other people are gonna say, feeling totally fine with being the weird one, like whatever, totally cool with being the quirky one, whatever. You doing that is 100% you helping other people show up like that as well, because you having that confidence, you having that self-assurance, you being a light sort of illuminates the parts that other people try to keep hidden about themselves. Because when you are just fully invested in sharing your truth and being who you are, not even caring if you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, just being yourself. And whoever gets it, cool. If you don't, you don't. I feel like that is really inspiring to other people. And when other people are putting on a show, I feel like that's highlighted, that's emphasized when you put that next to someone who is authentically being themselves 100%. Like when you have something real in the room, everything that's artificial can't help but stand out for all the wrong reasons. And I also feel like with the sun here, this is also associated with the 5th house of creativity and Leo energy. So yeah, I feel like this is confirming to us that you really could be an artist. Whether you realize it or not, like you have such a capacity for creative expression. And maybe you were meant to be in the spotlight. Everyone notices the sun. And I also feel like your energy is so warm. Like you're the type of person that people want to be friends with and want to get to know group 1. Because as different as you seem, as unique as you seem, there's also something about you that feels very approachable. Like you're not intimidating, you're not cold. There's something still very warm and engaging about your energy, the Empress, the Mother. There's something very nurturing about your energy. And with the 10th house of reputation here and status, I do feel like some of you could have the potential to be famous or to be well known on some level. Someone who's meant to have respect in their field. There's a level of like public recognition that you are meant for, or that you would be really good at handling. Not everyone can cope with that. Not everyone could cope with any level of fame. But I feel like you would be really good at it because you have this authenticity to you. You have this realness to you. And I also feel like for all of your dreaminess, group 1, you also have this tenacity, this work ethic, And what an unstoppable combination. What a recipe for success. Because there's that stereotype about artists, right? Where they're unreliable. The writer who has missed their deadline and their publisher is having to babysit them. Like people have that idea that just because you're a creative person, you can't also be structured or you can't also be disciplined. And that's just not true. It's just a stereotype. And so I feel like, people may think you have your head in the clouds, but really there's an aspect of you that's very grounded, very practical. You get stuff done. So yeah, you have a great capacity for success, a great capacity. You're the type of artist that could work for themselves, that could be a business owner. You can do both. We have Discovery, the Source of Magic, and Ivy. Now with this Ivy card here, it always holds a special meaning to me because this card here is actually the cover art for the actual tarot box that the deck comes in. And so I always think like she's special. Out of all of the cards in that entire deck, the creator decided we're going to use this card as the cover art. So this card is very special. And that's kind of your deal, group 1, like with the sun that we were talking about before. There's an aspect of you where you are meant to be a star, you know, where you could be someone that would be really great at being famous, you know, even if it was on a smaller scale. There's something about you where people can't help but look at you. People can't help but notice you, even when you're not trying, even when you would like to be a wallflower. There's something about you that demands to be noticed. And I think it's that authenticity. You know, in a world that's very artificial, that's very crafted, people can't help but be drawn to this. So, y'all may know, especially since I quoted The Real Housewives of Atlanta earlier, I like reality television. I like Bravo shows, mostly Real Housewives, but I also watch Married to Medicine. And on this season, there is a new cast member, and she's so raw. She's so real. And I think that people like her, people are responding well to her because she is new. She doesn't seem to understand that she's on a reality show the way that everyone else does. She's responding to situations that are happening on the show as if it's just happening in her everyday life. She keeps almost like forgetting that it's a show with crafted narratives meant to be consumed by a large audience, whereas everyone else is kind of in on the secret because they've been doing it for a while, and they're very concerned with, you know, how is this going to be perceived on like social media, and how is this going to affect my brand, and like how is this going to affect my image, my reputation. I need to do certain things to ensure my spot on the show. I need to act a little bit crazy. You know, I need to be a little bit dramatic so that I secure my spot on the show. You know, people are moving in very calculated ways. Whereas with her, she's just showing up, you know? And it's not her personality. It's not who she is that's drawing people in. It's just that realness. Because you can tell she's in over her head. You can tell she keeps forgetting she's filming a show. She's just going in there, you know, dressed the way she would normally dress, talking the way she would normally talk. You know, she's just there, showing up as herself. She doesn't have a game plan. You can tell. You can tell when someone is acting in a calculated way, when someone's playing it up for the cameras or playing up a persona versus someone being real. And that's why people are drawn to her, and it's why she is kind of the star of the season. She's carrying the season. All the conversations are about her, even though she's the newcomer. I feel like you have that energy. You have just this authentic aspect of you that is so lacking sometimes in our society, where people are so aware of social media. Yeah, we're not filming a reality show, right? But people are still very aware of how they are coming off. And some people are, you know, a bit rehearsed sometimes. Sometimes people are a bit trying to please, or trying to, I guess, appeal to a certain group of people. You know how you hang around some people and they're a totally different person when they get around one group of friends versus another? It's like, who are you? You know, like, who are you? And so, and I'm not talking about subtle changes. I mean, like, completely flipping on all of their beliefs and everything. So I feel like there's just this consistency to you that I think people are also drawn to, because you're always yourself. And that makes you a star, you know, like whether you have any level of fame or not, that makes you a star, because people can't help but look at you. And with the source of magic here, this is that capacity that you have for creative expression. Like if you think about ideas, is just being these like living, breathing things. And I'm kind of referencing Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic. But this idea that ideas are just living things that are circling all around us. And they're just waiting for a receptive vessel, someone that can bring that idea into our physical reality. You know, like ideas being like souls, just waiting for someone to express them into something tangible. You have that. Like you have that capacity. Even if you haven't used it yet, you have that capacity. And I feel like if you haven't ever tried, please try, because there's some idea that is wanting to be expressed. There's some idea that is hanging around in your energy field, just waiting for you to do it. You know, just waiting for you to bring it to life. And that's that Empress card too, fertility, creative expression, birthing something into reality. So there's some kind of idea that wants you to take hold of it, that wants you to birth it into reality. So there's a book inside of you, there's a song inside of you, there's a painting inside of you, there's a film inside of you. Like there's something that's wanting to be expressed, if that makes sense. And maybe some of you have already done this. But for some of you, I have a feeling you haven't tried yet. So all of you are going to be, you know, in a different place with this. And with this discovery card here, you see how like open she is? You're so open-hearted. I feel like you're so receptive to the mysteries of the universe. Like you embrace that. And I feel like almost like the divine is a bit smitten with you, you know, like I feel like the divine really likes your energy. And that's part of why we were talking about you being the source of magic here. Like we want to work with you. We want to work with you. And so you probably do get a lot of psychic downloads. You probably do have a lot of bursts of inspiration. Those sparks of inspiration, you're meant to do something with them. That's why I said, like, this is my group of artists. You all have an artist soul, like whether you realize it or not, you have the heart of an artist. You really do. And I hope that if you're not yet, I hope that you start to use it. And I feel like honestly, with discovery here, you're really good at helping other people awaken to their gifts and talents. I feel like you see the potential in other people really, really well. Because again, I feel like you're so supportive, you're so nurturing. Let's get your final Cat Guardian card, group 1. Energetic Ella. Yep. You have a beautiful energy. Group 1, you have a beautiful energy. But I also feel like energetically, you are so aligned. You're so like in tune. You know, it's like you have a direct line to spirit. And so I think that's also why you're such a dreamer, why it's always a bit tricky for you to stay fully present all the time, because you do have this like psychic, dreamy, imaginative side to you. And you are really good at reading energy, and you're really good at picking up on energy, but it doesn't affect you because you can disassociate. You can separate yourself, and you can energetically protect yourself. But if anyone understands energy, it's you, group 1. You understand energy. And I feel like you understand that everything has an energy. And that's why you have such a capacity for abundance. You may be really good at the law of attraction, whether you realize it or not. You're good at energetically aligning yourself with the things that you desire. All right, group 1, this was your reading. I hope that it resonated. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm wishing you the very best, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care. Welcome to your reading. So we have the Knight of Compacts, we have the Two of Compacts, and this deck compacts are the Pentacles. We have the Knight of Cups, we have the Hermit, we have the Ten of Cups, and we have the Fool. Okay, so a lot of earth and water energy already. But I will say the thing that immediately jumps out to me with your cards here, group 2, is this idea that as much as life can get really chaotic sometimes, and you're juggling a lot, and you're trying to do so much, and you're trying to stay on top of things, and you're trying to get all of your goals done. You're trying to, find some sense of balance in the chaos, in the busyness, right? Of how demanding life can be. You still give so much. You still give so much. I feel like as ambitious as you can be, as much as you are a real go-getter, someone who tries to get stuff done, you still have this beautiful, giving, loving heart. You're so affectionate. You really are. Even if you seem tough on the outside, right? Even if you seem like you're very reserved with the Hermit or with the Knight of Compacts, you seem like you can be a bit serious. Those who are close to you, those who matter to you, know this Knight of Cups, know this Fool card energy. They know how soft you can be. They know how caring you can be. And so you may seem really tough, but there's this sweetness to you. There's this genuine care for the people closest to you. You don't give this energy to everybody. It's just reserved for those who are closest to you and those who matter. And if you don't have anyone around you who's close to you, I feel like you're saving up this energy for the right person or the right people, for your soul family. If you guys have ever seen RuPaul's Drag Race, it reminds me of, I think her name was Bianca, and she was someone who, on the show at least, she was kind of the front runner from what I remember. She was the front runner, everyone thought she was going to win, and she did, I think, end up winning. But she was very competitive, and she had this like tough kind of exterior. She was really good at throwing shade. I mean, she was hilarious, like very comical, and kind of had this like tough attitude, you know? Like, you didn't want to cross Bianca. Like, she would just cut you with her words, and she was funny about it. Like, she could insult you and you couldn't help but laugh, you know, because you're like, yeah, she got me good there, you know? But even with that kind of tough attitude and like, this is a competition, and she was very competitive and good at competing, she still was very kind and helpful to one of the other contestants. I can't remember their like drag name. Jador, maybe? They were always saying like, let's party. I remember that. But anyway, so even when they had like no reason to be kind or no reason to help out another contestant, they still did. And it was so surprising from someone who seemed so tough and who seemed so competitive. And I feel like that's how you are. Like, you were so unexpectedly kind. Like, you seem so reserved or cold, but you have like a heart of gold. And I feel like maybe that's why you are so guarded. You know, maybe that's why you do have this aspect to you where you seem, maybe cold isn't quite the right word, but you seem very reserved. You seem closed off. But yet, I feel like it's just to protect the soft, sweet inner core. You know, it's kind of like, pardon the analogy, but it's almost like on the outside, you're like this bitter, dark chocolate. And then on the inside, you're like caramel. But it's like that. It's this hard outer shell, but there's a reason for it. And I feel like with the Hermit here, you know, you are very careful about who you associate with. Your circle is very small. Your circle may be so small it's a period, you know? Like, it's so small. But that's for a good reason. And you may be totally isolated. But it's because you know you need to protect this heart of yours. You're very protective over yourself. But when push comes to shove, if someone really needed your help, you would be there. And I think it's because you have this incredible capacity to give, that's why you are so protective of yourself. Because you know that that's an energy that can be taken advantage of. And so you mind your own business. You know, with this Two of Pentacles and the Hermit, you mind your own business. You know, you stay focused on yourself. And if there comes a special person in your life that makes you want to, with the Fool card, take a leap of faith and open up your heart, you'll do it. But you're not giving that energy away to everyone. You don't fall in love at the drop of a hat. You know, you're not friends with everybody. You're not a friend to everyone. And you understand that being a friend to everyone essentially means like being loyal to no one. You'll be respectful of everyone if they give you respect. But you're not going out of your way to be friends with everyone. You're not trying to get everyone to like you. You don't care about that. You care more about liking who you see in the mirror and respecting yourself more than having everyone else co-sign you, having everyone else like you. Because if everyone likes you, you can't always be true to yourself, right? Because there's no person in this world who is genuinely liked by everyone. There's not. There's always going to be someone who just doesn't vibe with you, someone who's just incompatible with you, someone who just doesn't get your vibe. And that's okay. We're not all meant to get along with each other. We're all, we're not meant to be liked by everyone. So you're not out here trying to win a contest that you would never win anyway, and I feel like you understand that if you have the approval of everyone, there's something about you that's inauthentic. Because again, it's just not possible to be yourself and to be liked by everyone. It's just not possible. So you don't try for, a contest that you would never win. So you're very true to yourself, but you also don't show who you are to everybody. Group 1 was very true to themselves, but they were out there. They were out there. They put themselves out there. You don't. You very much keep your energy very close to you. You don't talk to everybody. You don't associate with everybody. You may be very much a homebody, but you keep to yourself. You keep to your goals. You're very focused. You're very driven. And it's not that you're like a workaholic. It's not that you don't see the value in connection in people. With the 10 of Cups, 9 of Cups, and the Fool, you love love. You love people. You love connection. You love all that. But not at the expense of yourself, not at the expense of your integrity. And so you are totally fine with being alone. You are totally fine with feeling a bit isolated. You're totally fine with your own company. And because you're content to be patient and to wait for the right people. You would rather be alone than be surrounded by the wrong people. And group 2, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. It's so attractive. It's so incredible. Because I think so many of us do settle. So many of us don't want to feel like we don't have any friends, or don't want to feel like we don't have any connections, or some of us can't stand to be single. So we settle. We settle, we settle, we settle. And you are someone that just refuses to do that because you know your value. You know your worth. And that takes guts. Because I think that the way our society is set up, people act like there's something wrong with that. Why are you still single? Why don't you go out more? We get asked those sorts of questions, but I feel like you're not bothered by that. Because you have just this firm understanding that it's better to be alone than to be lonely with other people. And that's your power. You're very mature. With this rejuvenation and serenity card, it's reminding me of one of the Medea plays where she says, I would rather be by myself on a corner with a puppet and a goldfish than to walk up in my house and to not have peace. I think that's the quote. I may be slightly misquoting it. I haven't seen that in years. Oh my God, it's been so many years. But that always stuck with me. That always stuck with me because I thought, yeah, that is better. Because if you don't have peace in your life, if you can't even go into your own home and have peace, what do you really have? You could have the nicest, most beautiful house ever. But if you walk up in your house and you don't have peace because you got the wrong people living with you or the wrong person living with you, what do you have? That's why, we see the wealthiest of celebrities still being miserable because they're with the wrong person. Because they have bad people around them who are, just trying to get something off of their fame, off of their money. And so I feel like that's something that you just don't fall prey to. You protect your peace. With this Serenity card, you hold your peace in your palm like something very, very valuable. Nothing is worth your peace. And that's not to say that you can't handle conflict in relationships, because there's always going to be some level of conflict, right? There's no relationship you can have in this world with anybody romantic, platonic, family, friendship, doesn't matter. You are always going to have conflict. I have conflict sometimes with my cat. You know, like you are always going to have conflict with somebody. But I think you understand when it's at a healthy, normal amount, and when there's just an inherent incompatibility or someone's being disrespectful. You understand the difference. And that's a skill, because I think that sometimes when people get into spirituality, or they start to get therapy, or they start to work on their mental health, and they start to learn about boundaries, have you noticed that sometimes people who people please and then start to learn about boundaries can go too far in the other direction? It's like they're trying to course correct, but they're overdoing it. And they don't, they haven't quite figured out how to set and maintain healthy boundaries, or what that looks like. And so they may end up starting to just cut everybody off, or they get a bit verbally aggressive, like they were super passive before, but now they're like overdoing it and they're super aggressive. Not you, like you know how to balance that. With the Two of Pentacles, you know how to balance that. You know how to speak in a way where you command respect, but you're not disrespecting anyone else. You know how to set healthy boundaries, how to maintain them, what that looks like for you. And with the Rejuvenation card here, you completely understand what healthy self-care looks like. I mean, you really do prioritize your emotional and mental well-being, your health, your wellness. You understand that nothing else matters. If you don't have your health, nothing else matters. What good is all of the money in the world if you're disregarding your health? Can't work when you're dead, can't spend your money when you're dead. You get that. You get that at the end of the day, that's the only thing that really truly matters. Or at least everything else has to be secondary to that. And you understand that self-care isn't selfish. You understand you can't pour from an empty cup. You get that. You understand that. I feel like at times you may inspire a little bit of jealousy or envy just because you can maybe seem a bit perfect or untouchable. And I think it's because you do take such good care of yourself. And people who don't kind of find it hard, I think, to accept your kind of philosophy on life here. They may try to judge you for it or make you feel bad for taking good care of yourself. I'm thinking about hustle culture. And you may have a boss, or you may have friends, or it may even be, family members who tell you you need to work harder, or make you feel guilty because you took a mental health day from work. Or, certain workplaces that make you feel bad for taking your PTO, even though you're entitled to those paid days off. Or make you feel bad for calling out sick when you're genuinely sick. Or make you feel bad because you do, spend money on yourself. And those people may try to say, like, you don't have a strong work ethic or you're not disciplined. But it's like, no. I value balance. There's more to life than just working. Or it may even be that people try to make you feel bad for saying no. And you are like, I can't overextend myself to benefit you. I have to be able to say no, and I don't have to justify or explain myself. I have to care about my health. I can't say yes to everybody all the time. That's not reasonable. At a certain point, I have to say no to you to say yes to myself. yeah, you're not affected by the opinions of other people like that. Like, people can judge you, people can make passive aggressive comments, whatever, about your lifestyle, about your perspective, about your beliefs, but you don't care. I mean, you really don't care. You live your life for you. And I really feel like you understand that at the end of the day, you cannot live your life for other people. You only get this one life, as far as we know, unless you believe in reincarnation, which I actually do. But let's just say this could be your last incarnation, though. We don't know. So you're not going to waste your time trying to live up to someone else's expectations. And you know, sometimes people who do people please and who do say yes to everybody and don't know how to say no, even in like a workplace context, they don't know how to say no to their supervisor. I think a lot of it is jealousy. I wish I could say no, but I can't. So I'm going to judge you for saying no. It's just jealousy. It's really inspiring how well you take care of yourself. You really do. We have faith, simplicity, and friendship. I love this. I love this so much, group 2. With faith here, this is really echoing that Hermit card. The Hermit is a very spiritual card, very spiritual. I mean, the Hermit is someone who is walking through the night, you know, walking through usually the snow. Usually they're like on a mountaintop. They're in really harsh climates, you know, difficult weather conditions, and all they have is a lantern and, you know, like a staff, and that's it. That's all they got. And it's such an isolated energy, you know, like I've gotten away from everybody and I'm going through this deep period of self-reflection. And I'm trying to understand something about myself and something about the universe. And I'm really pulling my energy inward. I don't have time or space. I can't afford to share my energy right now. I need to figure something about myself out. It's this process of self-discovery. And through that self-discovery, understanding something inherent about the universe and my place in the universe. So you're very much a person of faith. You have to be with the Hermit to go on that long journey, like that dark night of the soul. It is very much a journey of the soul. To go through all of that, you have to have a sense of faith that you're going to come out on the other side, that there's going to be some benefit to that period of deep personal self-reflection, that process of healing something. And so I think that's, again, like you just have this really unique perspective. And I do feel like you have a lot of wisdom. And you are someone who's almost like a sage. I don't care how old you are. You have so much wisdom. I feel like you have almost like the cheat code to life. You know, like there's something about life that you have figured out that other people go their whole lives without ever figuring out. But you're so wise. And I feel like your faith is so strong because when you pull back your energy with the Hermit and you have that period of time where you are alone, there's no one but you and God, or you and the divine spiritual team, you and the universe. Whatever terminology you want to use, it's just you and God. So you very much deeply and intimately understand and know yourself. And because of that, you know the universe. Because you two are connected. And you are so strong in your faith and you walk in your faith. And with the simplicity card here, you don't overcomplicate things. You don't. You follow the signs and guidance of the universe, period. You don't overthink it. You are very much led by your intuition, and yet in a very grounded way. And that is part of your power, this beautiful balance, this push and pull in your personality and who you are as a person, in your identity. There's this balance. We saw it in the very beginning with your tarot, the balance between earth and water. Earth and water. You know when to flow, you know when to surrender. You know when to exercise your free will, you know when to be practical. You have this beautiful balance of dichotomies within you. Sorry, my phone stopped recording for whatever reason. But anyway, I wanted to say, you all have this mysteriousness to you. You're hard to figure out in the same way that there's this inherent mystery to the universe. It's like you mirror the universe. It's really cool. But group 2, it's almost like you, in some ways, are a walking paradox. And that's what makes you hard to figure out and why you're so intriguing. You know, because we're drawn to things that are mysterious. We're drawn to things that seem complex. And it's funny because you seem complicated, and yet there's this beautiful simplicity to how you think and to how you live your life. And with friendship here, as isolated as you may have been at times in your life when you were in this hermit mode, it's like through that period of self-isolation, you learned how to be a good friend, not only to other people, but also to yourself. It's like you learned so much about connection through being alone. You learned so much about love through being alone. So you're someone that just makes an incredible friend. But I think that's part of why you're so careful about who you let into your circle, because you understand that this is an energy that can be taken for granted, that isn't always appreciated. And so you're careful. You understand that you have something of value to share with others. You do know that you are a really great friend. And so because you have something valuable, you don't share it with everyone. You know not everyone is going to appreciate it. And just like the owl here, you are so wise. You may have an owl as your spirit animal, or you may see owls a lot. I just feel like that's an important reference for you. Something important about owls. If you see a lot of owl imagery, or if you actually see an owl, outside, that could be spirit trying to send you a sign. Okay, we have Heart of the Rose, we have Luck, and we have Free Spirit here. I feel like you seem like a free spirit, as grounded as you are, just because you do pull back your energy a lot. You do go into hermit mode when you need to. You do protect your energy. And so I feel like people say, oh, group 2, they're kind of different. Because you're not doing what everyone else is doing. And you are so spiritual, and you do have such unique beliefs. And you're probably very interested in the occult, not just tarot. Maybe you're super interested in astrology. Maybe even for some of you, you practice witchcraft and things like that. But you just seem really different, really unique. People may feel very lucky once they get to know you, because there's this understanding that you're not someone who's easy to get to know. you're kind of on the outskirts. You don't talk to everybody, you don't associate with everybody. You're hard to get in contact with sometimes, especially when you're in hermit mode. So when you do open your heart, when people do get to that softer, more vulnerable side to you, they feel so lucky to have known you. They feel so lucky when you open up, because there's an understanding that you don't open up to everybody. So it's something precious. It makes people feel special. It makes people feel privileged. And you are such a good friend to everybody who is in your circle. And your circle is small, so it's a privileged position. It's like I feel lucky to know someone like you, to know such a pure, beautiful soul, because there's something with the free spirit card, like again, you're not always available. We have water, we have Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, and we also have square. I feel like you're someone who has probably faced a lot of challenges in your life, and yet you keep moving forward. And Sagittarius is the teacher. So I feel like, especially with Hermit being here as well, because this energy is so significant to who you are, you always take the lesson in stride. That's why you're so wise. You take the lesson in stride. And I feel like you have this understanding that somehow this is connected to your life purpose. And I feel like if my group 1 was my group of artists, I feel like group 2, y'all are my teachers. Y'all are my teachers. You all have so much wisdom to share. You have such an understanding of the most intimate, fine details of the universe and how it operates. Like, you could be someone who really shares a lot of spiritual wisdom with other people. You get it. You could also be someone who's meant to heal through that. Like someone who's meant to help other people heal through sharing your story, through sharing your journey. But you understand. And you could also be someone who teaches other people how to manifest, or how to engage in certain spiritual practices like meditation, yoga. Again, like if you practice witchcraft. But there's something there where you're meant to teach other people. You're meant to share your wisdom. It's like, okay, you've had this period of isolation. You've had this period of deep and profound transformation, of coming home to yourself. Now we're meant to open up and share that. And I don't think you're meant to share it with everyone. I think you're meant to selectively share with people who are ready to receive the message. And I feel like you are very discerning and are aware of who is receptive and ready and who isn't, because that self-protection is still there. And you are someone who just always overcomes. You always overcome, and you're not afraid of the harsher aspects of life. As protective as you are of yourself, you understand that no life is free from pain, is free from hurt, disappointment. You protect yourself, but you understand that you can't protect yourself from everything. Life will always find you, because there has to be a balance. That's why there's the Wheel of Fortune. Sometimes we're on top of the wheel and sometimes we're being crushed by the bottom. But there's always balance. Yes, we're meant to love, we're meant to be happy, we're meant to achieve, but we're also meant to hurt. We came to this world to experience life, and that means the fullness of life. There's no joy without tragedy, and there's no tragedy without joy. Contrast. You understand that. You understand to appreciate the highs, we have to go through some lows. If everything was good all the time, there wouldn't be any gratitude or appreciation for it. It would just be what's normal. We would be living in some utopia, some heaven. We wouldn't be living life. And you're a soul, I'm hearing, that wants to have a really good story to tell on the other side. When you're done living your life and you go to wherever, you want to have a really good story to tell. I'm just hearing, I want to have a full life. And that means everything. I want to have a full life. So you have this attitude of like you're the hero of this story, and it's going to be a good one. And a good story doesn't start with a happy ending. A good story has a plot twist, has a climax, has a rising action, a falling action, conflict. Every good story has a conflict. You want a good character arc. You want good character development. And how do you have character development? Well, your character has to be tested, right? Your character has to go through some stuff. You want to live a full life. And I feel like you're sharing that attitude, you're sharing that wisdom with others. That we can't avoid it. That we shouldn't embrace this idea of living a full life. Now we have Caffeine, which is one of my favorite cards in this deck. We have Attitude, we have Always, we have Moon Secrets, and we have the Blue Fairy. Okay, group 2 with this Caffeine card here. I like how she's standing on one cup, but the other is tipped over. I just feel like there's this recurring theme throughout your reading about balance. About understanding that some things in life we are in control of and other things are messy, and the best that we can do is be on top of what we can control, and what we can't, to just accept it for what it is. And I feel like with Caffeine here, you are so inspiring to other people. There's something about you that is like energy to the soul, fuel to the soul, words of wisdom. You say something I can chew on, like you share something that is like food to the soul. When you speak, it matters. Your words carry weight. Your wisdom is nurturing to other people. You share something and it can become someone else's mantra, someone else's life philosophy. And sometimes it's a small moment. Like I can remember times in my life where someone has shared something with me and they probably thought nothing of it, but it'll be something that has stuck with me my whole life. And I always look back on it and think, that was wise, right? Like, dang, that was good. And with this Attitude card here, I do feel like people can misunderstand you. And I almost feel like Spirit is being a bit playful with you here. Like, I feel like some of you may be told that you can be a bit mouthy, or that you can be a little bit sassy or shady or a bit blunt or harsh in some way with your words. But I feel like you cut through the BS. You say it how it is, and you speak so plainly. This is the truth of the matter. You get right down to the heart of it, the core of it. And like I said, you're meant to share your message with people who are ready to receive it. And not everyone is ready to receive what you know. So some people may, misjudge you. Some people don't want to hear, an uncomfortable truth. And I'll say this too. I think because you are protective of your energy, you don't share it with everybody, people can say you're unfriendly. When we know you're such a good friend, but people can say you're unfriendly or you're cold when you're not. You're just protective of your energy. You don't share it with everyone. But when you're not super sociable or extroverted, certain people can perceive that in a negative way, especially if you live in a culture where that's valued. And people may say, why are you so quiet? I got asked that so much as a child. Like, why are you so quiet? Why are you so quiet? And I came from a family where you couldn't get a word in, So I got used to being quiet. So it may be something like that, where people mistake you just being a bit quiet, a bit more reserved, as something that is negative, or like you have a bad attitude, or you're not friendly, you're not nice. It's raining outside. I don't know if that noise is gonna bother anyone in the background. Hopefully not. I don't think it's super loud. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going. I hope that when I'm editing it, it's not terrible. Okay. With this always card, you're someone who's deeply devoted. And when you have a friend or you have someone that you care about, for you, it's a lifelong thing. For you, and certain people are just meant to stay in our lives for a season, true, but I feel like you're someone that holds on to people. When you find a good person, you try to hold on to it. Like you don't take your relationships or your connections for granted, because you are so selective with them. And I also feel like, and this is just a side message, but you are someone, I think, who is meant to have a life partner. If you're wanting to get married, you are someone who's meant to get married to a soulmate. I'm just feeling that for you all. And I think it's because you have such a healthy understanding of what it means to be a good friend or a good partner. And with this Moon Secrets card and this Blue Fairy card, I feel like these two are summarizing a lot of what we've been talking about already, about you having this beautiful understanding of the universe, literally like the secrets to the universe. You've got it figured out. You understand something very key, very inherent about the universe and how it works. And with the Blue Fairy, you have this deep reverence for love, for connection, for friendship. And so you don't treat that lightly. You don't treat that lightly at all. You hold it with the care and reverence that it deserves. And that's what makes you a good partner, whether it's in friendship or love or family. That's what makes you a good partner. All right, let's end your reading with a Cat Guardian card. Group 2. Okay, I'm not surprised at all. We have Spiritual Sally and we have Nurturing Nina. Like I said, like your spiritual side is so key to who you are, and the wisdom that you have to share is like food to the soul for other people. You are meant to be a teacher in this lifetime, a spiritual leader. Someone who's meant to share spiritual wisdom with others. So group 2, this was your reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it resonated. I'm wishing you the very, very best. And I hope to see you in my next video. Please take care.
Pas de soleil, 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 pas de soleil.
Hey group 3, welcome to your reading. We have the Star, we have the Queen of Swords, we have the Two of Wands, we have the Moon, the Page of Cups, and Justice here. Okay. What is so beautiful about you is how you always have hope and faith in yourself. You always bet on you, and it's so incredibly inspiring, group 3. You have this unshakable faith in yourself. And I feel like that with this Two of Wands, why you're always looking out to the horizon. Like, what more can I achieve? What more can I do? You're incredibly ambitious. You don't settle. You don't sell yourself short. And with the Moon, you're okay. You're okay with rolling the dice. You're okay with the uncertainty because you trust in yourself. With this Queen of Swords, and you might have some air sign placements. You don't have to, but you can take that as confirmation that you chose the right group. So Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. But it reminds me of the quote, a bird doesn't care about the strength of the branch because she trusts her wings. And that's you in a nutshell, group 3. You don't care about what challenges may lie ahead with the Moon. You don't care about the uncertainty that could lie ahead. You're not afraid of change. You're not afraid of a challenge because you trust yourself. And that's not to say that you don't ever get afraid or that you don't ever have anxiety or worry, but you don't let it hold you back. You could be totally frightened, but you do it anyway. You could be scared, but you do it anyway. And that's what's so inspiring, is that you don't let fear hold you back. You understand that's a normal human emotion. That's fine. But it's not going to stop me. It's not going to hold me back. And you have just this incredible, wild hope within you. You dare to wish for more. You're not afraid to ask for more, and you don't feel like it's selfish. You feel like it's your birthright. You feel like you're meant to achieve as much as you possibly can in this lifetime. So why would you keep yourself small? Then other people might say, like, why aren't you just content? Like, you're never content. But that's just not who you are. You're always going to push for more. You're always going to strive for more. And you feel like that's fair. You feel like that's fair. And you're very honest and straightforward. Like, this is what I want and I'm going to do it. And I feel like other people don't really question it if they know you well, because they've seen you do it in the past. You're just one of those people. If you say you're going to do something, it might take you a while. You might fail a couple times, but you're going to do it. You get stuff done. And you're very honest. You're very straightforward. Like, this is what I want. I'm going to do it. And you don't really care what other people have to say about it. It's not their dream. It's not their business. And what I think makes you such a strong character is that you're so focused on you and yourself and your dreams and your ambitions and your goals that you don't concern yourself with the gossip of other people. You don't concern yourself with the minutia of what other people have going on. You could care less. So you don't get caught up or distracted by petty arguments or drama or anything like that. For example, if you wanted to get promoted at your job, you would be focused on being the very best that you could possibly be, doing whatever it took to get that promotion. Like maybe you need to go to a class or go back to school. Maybe you need to work longer hours. Whatever the case may be, but you're willing to do those things, but you wouldn't get caught up or distracted by office politics or office gossip. You wouldn't care. You wouldn't let that distract you from your goal. And with Justice and the Queen of Swords, you're very fair. You're very fair. You're very honest and hardworking. And what you achieve it in the right way. You're not underhanded about it. You're not taking shortcuts. Everything that you get, you deserve because you earned it. You're not afraid of hard work. And you're so incredibly smart. You are clever. You are so smart. I would not want to get into an argument with group 3. I wouldn't. Because like I said, you're very fair. It's not like you can't admit that when you're wrong. But I feel like you're someone who knows how to defend their position. You're someone who knows, when you need to be, you can be very verbally combative. Like you're a fierce opponent. No one should really try to debate you, I feel like you can admit when you're wrong and you can know that you're wrong, but if you chose just to win the argument for the sake of it, you could, because you're that good at debating. But I do feel like with Justice here, you are fair. You can give a genuine apology. You can admit when you're wrong. That being said, though, you're really good at winning an argument. You're really good at it. I will say that. And you're very good at reading people. You're a very good judge of character. I just feel like you are a no-nonsense kind of person. And you have a lot of respect for yourself. And, if other people are just not operating at that level, they're trying to disrespect you because they don't really respect themselves, you're going to give it right back to them. That's just not something that you tolerate. You don't tolerate disrespect like whatsoever. And you're very much about your own business, So if other people want to be petty or, I don't know, there's just like this energy of people like gossiping around you, you don't pay it any attention. You really don't give that any light. Honestly, group 3, I'm wondering if I'm getting that energy just because you are kind of a more successful person. You have big goals, big ambitions. I'm wondering if that's why that energy is around you. Sorry, a piece of ice just fell. Maybe you're an ice queen. Anyway, maybe that energy is around you because other people are envious and wish that they could be as ambitious as you are, or wish that they could bet on themselves the way that you do. And you could be more type A, and sometimes that can rub people the wrong way. But again, I feel like you're just a powerful force to be reckoned with, I just feel like if people want to be envious, that's unfortunate because they should be feeling inspired. This is super inspiring to see someone believe in themselves wholeheartedly and to not be afraid to go after what they want. That's inspiring. You're a tough cookie, group 3, and that's super inspiring. With this meditation and wellness card, I'm kind of getting, with the cards meditation and wellness, I'm getting a really kind of unique message from these. There's sort of this idea of you being very much connected and aligned with what your soul is craving. Like your soul's purpose, who you are at your core, what you want more than anything. You're able to tap in and identify that. And I feel like that's why you're always pushing for more. Like your soul wants to be in alignment with your north node. Like in your birth chart, your north node, like your soul's purpose in this lifetime, you are pushing for that. Like you don't want to just incarnate in this lifetime, live an okay life and be done with it. You came here with this very specific idea of what you wanted to achieve, and you're going to do it. Like one way or another, you're going to do it. So I feel like there's just this laser focus for you. There's just this laser focus. And you're like, it's okay for me to have this tunnel vision towards this goal because it's well with my soul. I know that in my heart of hearts, this is what I want. And so many people don't know what they want out of life. So many people do lack direction, or maybe they don't figure it out until they're older. And I feel like there is something about that can be kind of envious. You know those people who say like, I always knew since I was 10 years old that I wanted to be a doctor, that I was meant to heal people, help people. Or I knew when I was 5 years old and I went to, my first movie, I knew I wanted to be an actor. It's something like that where you knew from a relatively young age what you were meant for. And I can get why people might be jealous of that. Like you know who you are, and you're one of those people where your purpose feels very much tied to your identity. You know how some people say, it's not what I do, it's who I am. You're one of those people. And I get why people would feel envious of that. Because I remember when I was getting my master's. My master's is in social work. And for me, it was just a practical degree, Like I do enjoy doing therapy, and I knew that I wanted to do that. But it was still something that just felt practical for me. It wasn't like I've dreamed of this since I was a child kind of thing. And some of my professors were like, I am a social worker. Like it was very much tied to their identity. It wasn't what they do, it's who they are. They live and breathe it. And I never felt that way about it. And even some of my classmates, like the passion that they had, I just didn't feel that way. I felt more passionate about this, quite honestly, than I did about, my degree. It was just something practical that I was doing. And so I get why people might feel a bit envious of that, of you knowing what you are meant for, and you feeling like this is who I am. It's not what I do, it's who I am. So no wonder you put your whole heart into it. No wonder you go full force at it. Because for you, I feel like you can't imagine an alternate reality. Like you're just one of those people where you know what you were put on this planet to do. So there is no alternative. There is no backup plan. And that's why you have this unshakable faith in yourself, because it's like, why would I have this dream? Why would I have this desire if I wasn't meant for it, if it wasn't so strong, if it didn't feel so tied to who I am as a person? So you just have this like crystal clear cut vision. And you're not willing to compromise on it. Now we have nurturing, intuition, and beauty. I didn't mention this before, but the Queen of Swords, even though she's a divine feminine, I would argue that she's the most masculine out of all of the divine feminine queens in the tarot. Especially more so, I would think, than like the Queen of Cups, or the Queen of Wands. And so I feel like with your oracle cards now, we're seeing more of your feminine side. I feel like you're this, regardless of your gender, but I feel like you embody this beautiful balance between masculine and feminine energy. And that's why you're such an evolved soul, like the yin and the yang. Like, you know when to call forth certain energies to benefit you. And they say that even in psychology, that the most successful people are a balance. Like, we're meant to kind of strive for a balance between the masculine and the feminine to be self-actualized. And so, I feel like on one hand, you have these masculine qualities that propel you forward, because masculine energy is very much about doing. It's not receptive or passive in the way that feminine energy can be. And so with the masculine energy, it's like pushing you forward. And yet the feminine energy, with this nurturing and intuition, is equally as important, because it's protecting you from burning out, and it's helping you know how to navigate that moon card energy. It helps you to navigate difficult, challenging, unknowable circumstances that may arise in the future through intuition. Sometimes we have to lean into our faith, right? Not all problems can be solved with logic. So I think when the masculine energy is no longer helpful, where you can't rationalize your way out of a situation, where you need a moment of insane bravery, when you need to lean into your faith and take a risk, that's where that feminine energy comes in as your saving grace. And so I think that's almost like the recipe for your success, and why other people are like, how is group 3 doing all of this? How is group 3 able to be so successful? How is group 3 able to be so confident? How is group 3 able to bet on themselves the way that they do, take those risks, because they're calculated ones? It's through this balance of the masculine and the feminine. And as hard as you work and as much as you push forward, you still take care of yourself, and that's hard to do. That's a difficult balance to strike, but you do it beautifully, group 3. And for some of you, this nurturing and beauty energy here could be related to your soul's purpose, but I'm gonna let you all kind of assess that for yourselves, because I know there's many of you watching, and each of you has a unique purpose in this lifetime. I will also say with this beauty and nurturing card here, that you aren't someone who neglects their physical self-care. And I feel like that's something that, again, I don't know, I feel like other people, I don't know why you inspire so much envy, group 3, but you kind of do. I feel like as much as people are inspired by you, you have other people who are equally envious of you. And I don't know why that is. And I know certain people like this, who like always have their hair done, or always have their nails done, or, they're always the best dressed in the room, or they don't ever, like skip a shower, or like, they could be in the middle of final exams and they still look put together. They don't let themselves go. People who eat well, people who exercise regularly. I don't know why, but certain people can be bothered by that, or want to say like, why are you so dressed up? Or, oh, you always have your nails done, or I don't know, just like little comments people can make. Whereas I'm like, that's inspiring. Like, they got their life together, like I feel like there's something about you, especially with you coming through as the Queen of Swords, where you seem very poised. You seem put together, and it's like your armor. I feel like your physical self-care, your outer beauty is like your armor. You always want to look collected, put together. You don't want to ever show up in your life looking a mess. And hey, listen, we talked about you being really good at winning an argument. You don't want to be in an argument with someone and you look a mess. You haven't showered, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to look a mess. You want people to take you seriously. You want people to listen to you. You want people to respect you. And in our society, we tend to listen to people more and respect people more when their physical appearance looks professional, looks put together. If someone looks, messy and unclean or unhygienic, like, we don't tend to listen to them or take them seriously. And so I feel like you kind of understand that aspect of the world and society, and you like to take care of yourself, like, you prioritize yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I think, again, that's part of your recipe for what makes you so successful in life, is that you take care of yourself so you don't burn out, so you can do what you need to do. So you make time for yourself. You don't neglect yourself. You're not a workaholic. You're not someone who is so focused on what they are trying to achieve that they are running themselves into the ground. You're not doing that. And that's that balance between that masculine and feminine. Yeah, you're a go-getter, but you take care of yourself. We have longevity, vision, and leadership all day long, group 3. You are meant to create something in this lifetime that lasts. You are meant to have a legacy. You are meant to create something that lives beyond you. And even if it's you inspiring other people and those people following in your footsteps, you know how they say, like, certain people crawled so other people can walk? Like, you may be opening up the door for other people to come and build off of what you are doing. It's raining a little bit harder outside. I hope the background noise isn't too distracting. But yeah, and you may be I'm hearing the first of your kind to do what you're doing. And that may not resonate for everyone. But you may be the first woman, or the first person of your ethnicity or of your culture, or someone who isn't from the typical background. Because there's just something about you, like, overcoming the odds. Like, you weren't in a privileged position to accomplish a certain thing, if that makes sense. Like, you could be trying to do something where maybe, just for example, like, maybe you're a woman and you're trying to find success in a male-dominated field. Or maybe you're trying to achieve something that isn't really common in, like, your country. You know how like in America, like, Hollywood is like a big thing, and your country, wherever you're from, may not have that kind of, I don't know, level of celebrity, I guess. Like, their output isn't the same for, like, the entertainment industry. But you come to America and, like, you make it big. Or you make it big in your country where people aren't really known for that. I don't know why Drake keeps coming up. He came up for me in another reading. But he was a Canadian rapper. I guess because he's an easy example. Or like Rihanna. Like, I'm pretty sure she's from a fairly small... Well, actually, I don't know. Point is she's from an island, okay? I want to say she's from Barbados, isn't she? I could be totally wrong. But the point is that she's from somewhere else. And she is, like, living the American dream. Or what we say the American dream is, right? So it's that. It's like, not many people from my country, or I may be the first of my kind, like the first person from wherever I'm from to achieve this. Like, I could be wrong, but I think that when Drake made it big, I don't think there were a lot of other Canadian rappers that people could name that were on that level. And so it's like the first of your kind. And that's what makes it even more inspiring, is that you overcame obstacles. You weren't in a privileged position. You weren't, a product of nepotism. You did this. So there's this energy of you being self-made. There's this energy of like, I worked hard for this. I worked hard for this. But also that balance of feminine energy coming in and saying, not only did I work hard for this, but I had my faith. I had my faith. I believed in myself. I intuitively knew that this was for me, and that's why I didn't give up. And so yeah, like there is an element of luck here, but that luck comes from my faith. Comes from my faith. You're one of those people would say, yeah, I worked hard, but it's also by the grace of God, by the grace of the universe. So there's this element of gratefulness to your soul that's really, really beautiful, because you don't let that success go to your head. You're not arrogant. And you may not have achieved this yet, but you will, group 3, and I think you know that. I don't even think I need to tell you. I think you know that. And with this like pine cones, like fertility, like this attitude of like your story, not attitude, this element of your story being a source of inspiration to others. If group 3 can do it, I can do it. So you opening the door, you being the first of your kind, you opening the door for other people like you to make it. And vision, like you had that vision and you never let it go. Like I said, you knew from an early age what you were meant for, and you weren't willing to compromise. And that's why you stuck with it, that tenacity. And with leadership, the first of your kind, we've already said it. And so you are meant to be in a powerful position. You are meant to be in a position where you speak and other people listen. Other people listen because you have some kind of secret sauce here. You did it. You made it. Tell me how you did it. Tell me your recipe for success, because I want to emulate it. Tell me how you did it, group 3. We have Neptune, which is associated with Pisces. We have the 5th house of creativity. This is associated with Leo. We have the 9th house associated with Sagittarius. And we have Aries here, fire sign energy. So a lot of fire sign energy, a lot of creative, willful energy. And fire sign energy is energy that moves forward. If you think about heat and the way it spreads from the fire, you are a person of action. And yet also with Neptune here, you're a dreamer. So it's like I have the vision, but I also have the guts to go for it. To not second guess. Like I have a plan, I have a vision, but I'm going to put it into action. It's not just going to stay in my head. And I think you are very creative. I think you're a very creative problem solver and really good at overcoming challenges. And with Aries, like you have the arrogance to believe you can pull it off in a healthy way. Like I said, you have a healthy ego. You really do. And with Aries too, it's the first sign in the zodiac. Like I said, the first of your kind. The first of your kind. You're getting it done. You are leading the way for other people. You are opening that door. You are ushering in a new era. And you won't be ignored. You won't. You will achieve your success. And with the 5th house, maybe it's something creative that you're trying to pull off. But I also feel like this is kind of speaking to you having this vision since childhood or since an early age of what you were meant for. And you have followed that song of your heart and you never forgot the tune. Never. And with the 9th house, Sagittarius, they're the explorer. They're the traveler. And so it's like, I don't care how far I have to go. I'm okay, like if I have to leave home, if I have to leave what's comfortable, what is known to me, I'm okay with it. This is like someone who moves to Hollywood or someone who moves to New York. Someone who travels to another country, like whatever it takes for me to get where I'm meant to go. I'm going to achieve what I'm meant to. I'm going to go where I can find my success. I'm brave enough to do that. You're so brave, Group 3. You're so brave. And the 9th house is the teacher too. So not only am I going to be successful, but you're the type of person who would like write a memoir or who would do an interview and say like, this is how I did it. Like you want to help other people. You're not stingy with your success. Like once you get to where you're meant to go, once you achieve what you have set out to do, you want to open the door. You want to help other people get there. We have Trillium, we have companions, air element, and trespassers. I mean, air element is echoing that Queen of Swords we saw in the very beginning, right? So you really might be an air sign, or you might have a significant air placement in your chart. But I also feel like this is kind of picking up on what I was just talking about of like, I don't care how far I have to go. I don't care how much I need to evolve, how much I need to grow. I'm going to make it happen. I'm not going to stay stagnant. Air energy always feels really mutable, right? If I have to change, if I have to go far, I will. Bendable like the wind, I will go. I will do what I have to do. And like we said before, you're incredibly intelligent, incredibly clever, so good with your words. Very well spoken. You would be a great public speaker. Again, whether you realize it or not. I used to be terrified of public speaking, terrified. So you may surprise yourself the ways in which you grow. You may even surprise yourself. And with Trillium here, this is a card all about self-care, all about nurturing yourself. So as much as you push yourself, you don't push yourself to the point of burnout like we were talking about before. And with this Companions card here, I love this so much. You really have like main character energy, Group 3. But you know how I always make this joke that like Disney princess movies kind of set up an unrealistic expectation for me as a child, that I was always meant to have like a cute companion animal. And I like wanted a cat so bad when I was little, and I never really got to have a cat. And so I don't know, I had an obsession with cats even when I was very, very little. But you, I think, are so kind to animals. I feel like you may have an important companion animal in your lifetime that is meant to be a support to you through this journey. And think about it, if you're someone who has to move far away from family or friends or what's known to you, if you're meant to evolve and grow and change, you're not meant to stay in one place. Having a pet that's very close to you, that you can take with you anywhere, would really help you on your journey. And so if you don't have a companion animal now, you may end up getting one. And I feel like you share like a soul contract, like a spiritual connection with that animal. And I feel like you just understand animals maybe even better than you understand people. I just feel like you have this beautiful connection to animals. And you could be a vegan or a vegetarian, but you don't have to be. I just feel like you have this understanding of animal instinct. Like you get the language of animals. And that makes sense to me, Group 3, because you are someone that's very much led by intuition and instinct as well. Like you go with your gut. And that's part of what helps you maintain that vision, because you feel it in your gut. You know, you just know. You can't even put into words, but you know you were meant for that. And with trespassers here, like you are so fiercely protective. I mean, no one can talk you out of this dream. No one can talk you out of your vision. No one can tell you who you are, who you're meant to be, or where you're meant to go. No one is going to hold you back. And I also feel like you're fiercely protective of those you love and care about too. And you're protective over, I'm hearing for some of you, like you're protective over your culture or where you come from. And I think that's why you want to open the door for others like you to succeed. But you're protective over that. And you're proud. I'm hearing for some of you, you're proud of where you come from. It's like, as much as I wanted to evolve past where I come from and I wanted to go out there and achieve something big, I'm proud of where I started. And I think that's the case with a lot of people who are self-made. You know, they're proud of that journey. I mean, success is so much sweeter when you earn it, when you worked for it, right? When you put everything into it. When success comes easy, you just aren't as grateful for it. So I think you're really, really proud of yourself, and you're protective over your story. Because your story has value. Your story has immense value because it will be a source of inspiration for so many other people. You are proof that dreams can manifest into reality. You are proof that even the underdog can win. Everyone loves the story of an underdog. So many people would say, like, you're 1 in a million. Not everybody makes it, but you will. Let's end your reading with a Cat Guardian card, group 3. Oh my gosh. It's funny, like, just how well these cards are aligning today with every single group. Brave Betty, like we've talked over and over again, how brave you are, how incredibly courageous you are, how you have the audacity to go after this vision that you have for your future. And creative Charlie, we talked about that with the 5th house, like maybe you're meant to achieve something in a creative field. But even if that's not the case, like you're just a creative problem solver, nothing for you is unfigureoutable. Like you have so much trust and faith in yourself. And I feel like you are someone where you're like, this is my birthright. This is what I'm meant for. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is more than just a dream. It's who I am. So it has to come true. I will get there. So it's that unshakable faith in yourself that makes you so brave. I'm excited for you, group 3. I really am. All right, group 3, this was your reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it resonated. Hopefully it was helpful. I'm wishing you the very, very best, and I'll see you in my next video. Please take care.